Yay. Okay. Who wants to go first today?
I'll go.
Oh, who is it?
Rock, paper, scissors, it out. Let's go. Who wants to go? Was it Brittany or Nathan?
Yeah, it's both of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go?
I went
You can
first
go,
last time. You can go.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Great. Whenever you're ready.
Changing a flat tire is an important part of vehicle maintenance that every driver should have the ability to do. You can get a flat tire at any moment when driving, so it's important to always have some items in your car that will help with this. For starters, you obviously need a spare tire. Aside from that, a wrench and jack are definitely needed. Some items that you may want or need are a small piece of wood to secure the jack, wheel wedges if you need to change the tire on a hill, a flashlight in case you need to change the tire in the dark, and finally a pair of gloves if you don't want to get dirty. The first step in changing the tire is to find a safe spot to pull off and park your vehicle. Next, you'll turn on your hazard lights to alert nearby traffic of a problem. Then put the parking brake on to secure the vehicle in place. Get out and place a wedge behind or in front of the wheels if you're on a hill to further secure the vehicle. After you secure the vehicle in place, you take off the wheel cover, or better known as hubcaps. You loosen the lug nuts with a wrench. You find the correct spot to place the jack under the vehicle and raise it up to the point where the flat tire is fully off the ground. After that, you fully remove the lug nuts by hand after loosening them with the wrench, and then you remove the flat tire also by hand. Then take the spare tire, line it up with the lug bolts, which came off the lug nuts. Find the correct placement and push against the wheel. Tighten the lug nuts with your hand. Lower the car by removing the jack. Tighten the lug nuts fully with the wrench. Finally, you're going to check your tire pressure to make sure your spare tire is at the correct pressure, as it could have lost air while inside the tank or while it was stored. And then you take your flat tire to a mechanic to be repaired. Changing a flat tire is something no one wants to do, but it is a very important part of driving to have the knowledge and equipment ready at a moment's notice. Part of this procedure may seem tedious and unnecessary, but all are crucial steps to safety and success.
All right. Brittany, do you want to go next?
Sure. All right, let me set up my screen really quick.
Okay. And time limit is 2 to 4 minutes. Forgot to remind you of that.
Okay, can everyone see all right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
just so everyone knows, this is what it looks like for when you share your screen. So you just become like a smaller bubble, which is still fine because I can focus on you over there and still grade delivery. Everyone will have to do this for speech 4.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Brittany.
Okay. So one of my favorite composers, Igor Stravinsky, once said, "There is music wherever there is rhythm, as there is life wherever there beats a pulse." As a musician, rhythm has always fascinated me, so today I'd like to share with you 3 steps in reading musical rhythm: knowing general terms, understanding the role of mathematics in note values, and putting it to practice. Let's begin first by learning some important terms. In music, the beat is the rhythmic movement. I like to think of it as a heartbeat or the pulse. Tempo is how fast that beat is. It could be slow, it could be fast, just like a heartbeat racing or slowing down. A measure is physical space to show time, and it's comprised of these beats, or a specific number of these beats. And a time signature is made up of 2 numbers. The top number tells you how many beats are in each measure, whereas the bottom number shows which symbol is the beat. So now that we've learned some basic terms, let's take a look at the math within music notation. So the second step is knowing that each symbol has mathematical value. And the time of 4/4, which is 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note is the beat, we have the whole note, which is this top one, and it's worth 4 beats. The next one is a half note, which is worth 2 beats, which is split into 2 parts, which is a quarter note, which is 1 beat, and an eighth note is worth half of a beat. And over here we have our corresponding rest symbols. So a whole note would be 1, a half note would be 1, 3, quarter is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then eighth note is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now that we know the note values, I will demonstrate a simple rhythm reading. So to do this, we need to remember that the first step is knowing the general terms and locating them. So here we have the time of 4/4, which is the most common. And I see we have quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes, and then we also have some quarter rests. So I'm going to take this at a pretty moderate tempo, and this is our beat. So if I go 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2, rest. 4, 1, 2, and 3, rest. 1, 2, and 3, so on and so forth. So when you do that, each beat has an assigned number, just as I demonstrated. But if you aren't comfortable doing that, you can always do it on a neutral syllable. So let's review the 3 steps in reading musical rhythm. We've talked about these 3 steps, which are knowing general terms, understanding the mathematics, and putting it to practice. By understanding rhythm, we have a closer understanding of music itself. The beat is ultimately the heartbeat of the music, and without it, it would not exist. Again, as Stravinsky said, there is music wherever there is rhythm, and there is life wherever there beats a pulse. Thank you.
Good job. Okay. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
That's good. All right.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, when one of us opens a nice, refreshing beer, we only savor the moment and don't think about how this beer came to be in our hands. Although, if you frequently wonder what journey this beer undertook to find itself in your possession, well, then you're in luck. In a brief moment, I'll inform you on the generalized process of brewing beer. 1, the preparation of the grains. 2, the brewing. And 3, the fermentation. Let's begin by discussing the preparation of the grains. The first step in the brewing process involves preparing whatever grain you are choosing to brew with. Commonly, barley is used, although you can use wheat, rye, among other things. When the brewer receives his harvested grain, he then undergoes a process known as mashing. Mashing is steeping the grain in hot water to allow for the release of sugar. Next, brewers rinse the grain with hot water and separate the hot liquid from the grain. This process is known as lautering. At this point, any grains can be discarded and we're left with the liquid that we call wort. Now that we've prepared our wort, we can now move on to the brewing process. The wort makes its way to the boil kennel to be boiled in order to remove any microorganisms. At this point in the process, brewers may now add hops or additional spices. Hops release their flavor in the presence of boiling water, and brewers can personalize their beer to the hoppiness and flavor that they are looking for. The hoppy wort is now rapidly cooled to around 80 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure that the yeast is not killed when being added to the wort. Since you are dropping back down to low temperature, the brewer must ensure that absolutely no contamination becomes present inside the wort. So the hard part is over. Now for the most important part, the fermentation. The wort now undergoes the fermentation process for 1 to 2 weeks inside the primary fermentation tank. During the primary fermentation, yeast begins to convert the sugar into alcohol and CO2. To ensure the process is working, you will notice the release of CO2 from the vessel you are brewing, or you're fermenting the beer with. Keep in mind that the next step, secondary fermentation, is totally optional but will provide clarity and a more polished beer. To do this, you must rack or transfer your beer to the secondary tank via gravity. It is essential that 1, the primary tank is at higher elevation, 2, that all sediments have settled on top of the solution in the primary tank, and 3, to not allow splashing, which infuses oxygen into the beer, causing the stale taste you might taste when you're drinking beer. You allow for the secondary process to last a week. But if you skip the secondary fermentation, then allow for primary fermentation to continue for 2 to 3 weeks. Lastly, bottling and adding carbonation. Brewers either add their own carbonation to the beer, or they add sugar to be consumed by the leftover yeast, which creates more CO2 for more carbonation. After waiting 2 weeks for the beer to get condition and carbonate, you are now ready to enjoy a nice, refreshing beer of your own. So let's discuss what we have covered. We have discussed the generalized 3-step process of brewing beer. 1, the preparation of the grains. 2, the brewing. And 3, the fermentation. For some of us, beer is something we greatly enjoy, and for others, maybe not so much. Although I hope the next time you have beer in hand that you appreciate and understand the long process it undergoes. Thank you.
Okay, cool. We'll keep moving along. Who do we have left? Monica and Ying?
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to do it?
I can if Ying doesn't.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just set up my screen sharing thingy. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
Cool, huh?
Say again, sorry, Bree?
That's pretty cool, huh?
Oh yeah, hopefully you like it.
Okay, here we go.
I just start whenever?
Yep.
Okay. In my speech, I will describe the 3-step introductory process in the stock analysis. Trading is becoming more and more relevant among students, and as millionaire or billionaire investor Warren Buffett once said, you don't need to be a rocket scientist. Investing is not a game where the guy with the 160 IQ beats the guy with the 130 IQ. So everyone is able to invest in stocks. As a portfolio finance major, I analyze and trade stocks with state money in my classes of portfolio management. Today, in our 3-step process, we will first pick a sector and 3 firms within that sector. Second, we will perform a small financial analysis. And third, we will decide upon the firm in which to invest. So let's start with a sector and the 3 firms. So our first step is to choose a sector and 3 firms within that sector. Examples of sectors include the healthcare sector, or the consumer goods sector, or the communication technology sector, for example. So all the data is taken from Yahoo Finance, and also that you can locate the data again. And let's pick the consumer goods sector. Firms are chosen, firms are selected due to their reputation, their name, and their leading news coverage. So in our analysis, we will pick Apple due to its reputation. We will pick Tesla due to the recent news coverage regarding the Model 3 production. And lastly, we'll pick Philip Morris because it's a leading name in the tobacco industry. Having selected our industry or our sector and our 3 firms within the sector, it's now time to move on to our financial analysis. Step 2 is the small financial analysis on the key parameters of profit and beta. Profit measures what the company gets to keep after all expenses have been deducted from the total revenue. We only consider cases where total revenue or where profit is positive, as a negative profit figure means that the company is incurring a loss. The beta here measures how the stock performs compared to the stock market. You can have a positive beta, which means that the stock is moving in the same direction as the market. You can have also a negative beta, which means that the firm is moving in the opposite direction of the market. A beta above 1 means that the firm is outperforming, it's better than the market, while a beta of less than 1 means it is underperforming, it's worse than the market. So having done our financial analysis, it's now time to focus upon our decision. So step 3 is to decide in which firm to invest. We will disregard Tesla because it's made a financial loss. And we will also disregard Philip Morris because of its below 1 beta. And because the beta is below 1, that means Philip Morris got low chances of outperforming the market. It's got low chances of ever being better than the market. It'll move with the market, but it won't be better than it. And that's what we're looking for when we invest. And that's why, because of Apple's beta of 1.43 and the profit, we're going to invest in Apple. So right now we've decided in which company to invest based upon our small financial analysis on 3 firms in 1 sector. So just now, I described to you the three-step introductory process of choosing stocks. First, we select a sector and 3 firms within that sector. Second, we perform a small financial analysis of beta and profit. And third, we decide on the firm with the best financial parameters of profit and beta. And I hope that all of you will follow Warren Buffett's advice and consider investing at some point in your future. Thank you.
I have never had anyone do investing before, so props to you for that, coming up with a creative new topic.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, last but not least.
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Just that green button on the bottom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. I can start now.
Yeah, do you want to put your PowerPoint in delivery mode?
Let me try. I don't think it works.
There you go.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. 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 Summer's coming. Time to break out the sunglasses and sip cold drinks in the sun. Time like this calls for a vibrant, fresh, and light dessert such as Milka Molly crepe cake. Milka, Japanese green tea powder, is characterized by its beautiful green color. And a Mele cake, for Mele, it means 1,000 in French. It's essentially layers of crepe sticking together with a thin layer of cream sandwiched between each crepe. Since we're here, why spend money on Lady M when we can make our own Mele crepe cakes by ourselves? So, this is one I cooked yesterday night, and I have already made this kind of cake for like 4 times, so I'm kind of familiar with cooking Milka Molly crepe cakes. Plus, it's very easy to cook. So today, I want to show you guys the process of making Milka Molly crepes. First, I will share the ingredients you need. Second, I will share the process in details. Let's get started. So first, the ingredient. The cooking process can be divided into 2 parts: how to make the crepes, how to make the filling. For the filling, we need whipping cream, sugar, and lemon. For the crepes, we need whole milk, all-purpose flour, butter, 2 eggs, green tea powder, and sugar. And I already marked the amount of each we need on the slides. So we talked about the ingredients we need for the cake for a little bit. Now I want to show you guys how to make the cake step by step. Filling up so for the filling, put the whipping cream, sugar, and I think a little bit of lemon juice into a big bowl, and whip the cream and take your time. But how do we know it is done? When we lift the balloon whisk, there's a cream drop down. We can see the lines disappearing soon. That's a perfect time to stop whipping. When the filling is ready, put the bowl into a fridge for when we get done with the crepe. So second, crepes. We add the flour, sugar, eggs, whole milk, mocha tea powder, and melted butter into another big bowl. Mix evenly, then sift the flour paste. Turn on the furnace around 2 to 3. Brush the vegetable oil or olive oil on the pan, and we still pour small amount of flour paste on the pan as well. Wait for 30 seconds. Fry little edge, and wait for another 30 seconds. So then we. So if we want to make 32 crepes totally, it is quite time consuming, but pretty sure it's worth. Now we can start spread filling in the individual crepe, then put the crepes into the fridge for 2 to 3 hours. So it will look like this. So for today, I talked about how to make the mocha melon crepes by using 2 key points. The ingredients you need, like all-purpose flour and whipping cream, and the process of cooking, including how to make the crepes and the filling individually. Now think about it. Imagine afternoon breeze is sweeping the whipping willows, and you have a chance to have a cup of afternoon tea with the mocha melon crepes made by yourself, and to make the afternoon even better. Thank you.
Cool. We got some crepes, we got some music, we got some stocks. We got it all today, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll just stop this recording really quick.